Hi, you're listening to SDE in the evening today. Although this is pre-recorded, I am joined via phone with Sam from Greta Van Fleet. Welcome.
No, thank you.
Yeah. To begin, I know you've been getting this a lot lately, but congratulate you on your 4 Grammy nominations.
Oh, thank you very much. Thank you very much. Yeah, I think it really caught all of us really off guard. I mean, not only did we not know, when they actually announced the Grammys or whatever, but we woke up and had a bunch of text messages. We were like, what happened? But luckily, it was only the Grammy nomination.
Yeah. So anyways, one of those is Best Rock Album. However, I've realized that you've kind of been adamant about not labeling From the Fires as a true album, but a double EP. With your new LP, the album Anthem of the Peaceful Army, what do you hope listeners gain or learn after listening to it all the way through as like one cohesive project?
Well, I think that basically what you're describing, I think that's the biggest difference between Anthem of the Peaceful Army and From the Fires, is that, I think that From the Fires was a bit of an intro piece to Greta Van Fleet, when you really get down to it. And when you get into Anthem of the Peaceful Army, I think it kind of just shows, hey, maybe these kids have something to say. And, I think there's a lot more, commentary on the social status of, whatever's going on right now, whatever's in the news. I think there's a lot of environmental things in there. I think there's a lot of political things in there. And, of course, a lot of the lyrics are up to interpretation, but I think that, that's the biggest difference between the two. I think that the songwriting, the maturity of the songwriting has really come a long way. When I look back at even Black Smoke Rising, the EP, and I think it's just because we've been given the opportunity to go out and see the world.
Okay, yeah, sounds awesome. So, like you were saying, so I guess, your entire musical career has been in the digital age, but be it for praise or hate, you get a lot of attention for being quote unquote retro. So would you say that kind of the environmentalism or whatever, do you think that's the most 21st century aspect of your music?
I think that's one of them. I think that is what makes our music contemporary, is that we live in the present. And, what's the use in talking about things that happened a long time ago? There's a lot of really important things to talk about right now. But yeah, I think that's a very introspective piece of the music, is that it's happening now. And, it's difficult for us to wrap our heads around, the retro thing, because we grew up on the music we grew up on. We grew up on R&B, soul, funk, rock and roll, blues. Mm-hmm. That's the sound that we know, and that's the sound that we always played, and that's what comes out when we get together.
All right.
And
yeah,
it's like this is what's happening right now, and this is what's relevant. This is what's important to us. So yeah, it's actually a very mature point.
Cool. So that being said, your entire career has existed, like having it in the time of the internet. So how do you think that being in play has altered your experience when contrasted to like the artists that you're so often like compared to? You think this is like positive or negative?
Well, with all the social platforms that we have now in this day and age, and everybody uses them, so it's just a totally different world. And not only that, but the music market has changed completely. And I really feel like back in the 60s or 70s, there were few bands who dominated the scene. And now we have, thousands and thousands of bands dominating the scene. There's nobody as big as the Beatles were. And, I'm not sure that that's ever possible again with the way the world works now. There can't really be an Elvis Presley anymore. just because of the way, it's so easy to get your stuff out there. Not only that, it's so easy to record music, which means there's a lot of great music being recorded, and that means that there's a lot more, horrible music being recorded. And it's really easy to put yourself out there. So it's a lot harder to, be noticed by a mass scale. And it's a very strange thing, and it feels forced, honestly, with the social media and the posting and keeping up with that. But it's such a pivotal, important thing in, this day and age to be a part of that and to, feed the fans, the pictures, the touring pictures and the updates. And it's so different. It's so different.
Yeah. Yeah, cool. I bet. So, like you were mentioning, like the songs or whatever you grew up on, my radio show, it's based outside of Chicago. I'll actually be at the show tonight, and you guys are very outspokenly influenced by Chicago blues. But aside from obvious musical influences, how do you think a Midwestern upbringing has shaped the kind of music you are able to create?
Wow. I think that it has a lot to do with landscape, and it has to do a lot with nature. And I think in this, this crazy world that we live in, everybody's living at 10 all the time. And, we are too. And I think it's such an important thing to get back out into, where we came from, primal man. And I think that's one of the natural human instincts to want to be a part of nature. And it's a very grounding thing. And I don't think we could be doing what we're doing without, being able to disappear for a little bit and go off and be woodsmen for a little bit. But I think that is a really big part of what the music is. We had so much freedom as kids just because we had so much, yard to play in and so much, all these farm fields around us and the creek and, so I think that really had a very, very powerful impact on all of us.
Okay, cool. I can see, I can hear that, obviously. I think in a lot, maybe Watching Over, I think that's a song you can really hear the kind of effect of that kind of outdoorsiness. So just, this is kind of random, but in touring, have you realized of any Midwestern like mannerisms or colloquialisms that you exhibit that you didn't even realize were like uniquely pertaining to like Michigan or this part of the country?
Oh yes. That's one of my favorite things to when we travel, just to see the way that people act and the certain the colloquialities like you were talking about, like the. I think my favorite is how Midwesterns always say, "Oh." Yeah,
I just realized that like 2 weeks ago. I just found out that was only a thing that we do.
Isn't that hilarious? It's so funny, and I think that we really have powerful like Midwestern act. Like my for is for, like I'm going to the store for.
Yeah.
It's one of those things. A lot of the pronunciations of the words, and it's one of the most interesting things to see how people speak to each other and how people nonchalantly talk to each other in different places. It's a very fascinating thing.
So like with all those different cultures and parts of the world that you have newly been experiencing, there's talk of you guys releasing new music next year. In the past, you guys, or especially Josh, has listed world music as something you're really interested in. Could we possibly look forward to any like experimental or culturally influenced aspects of music on future projects?
Yeah, I think so. I think it slips into the music sometimes, like in. Oh, man. I can't even remember the name of our own song. But no, it sometimes to that. I think that there's heavy percussion things on, like Mountain of the Sun.
Yeah.
There's lots of percussion. That's one of those things that Josh found that, kind of showed all of us. It's very heavy percussion, the African music that he listens to. And, that's some of the most beautiful stuff that you can listen to. It's some of the, the oldest cultural music in the world. And, but yeah, I think that slips into the music. I don't even think it's one of those conscious thoughts. But I would definitely say so.
Kind of random assumption question, and I don't even know if you would know this, but I've recently been listening to this woman, Joanne Shaw Taylor, and she has a new album coming out that is produced by your guys' same producer. And I was like looking into that, and I noticed on the track listing there was a song called Jake's Boogie. I didn't know, is that perhaps Jake, your brother, or is that just a random thought that's not even true?
Oh, yeah. I haven't heard about this yet. You're the first one to educate me about this. But I think it was something that Jake was playing because, we're pretty, we know Joanne pretty well. And, we were actually there for a little bit of the session. And it looked really bad. So we heard some of the tracks from that record, and it sounds really, really awesome. But, I would have to say that is, don't take my word for it, but I would say that's probably reminiscent of something Jake was playing. Great observation, by the way.
Oh, thanks. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, do you guys have any ideas of when this new music that you speak of will come out, or if it's even in the writing process? I'm sorry if that's a basic question.
Oh, yeah. Well, I think that right now, actually, pretty much the day that the Anthem of the Peaceful Army came out, we really kind of delved into, what we think the next record is going to be. And, there's been some really, really cool stuff. Actually, just yesterday at Soundcheck, Fridays in Chicago, at the Aragon Ballroom, we were really working on something at Soundcheck, and that was, oh, man. But I'm getting excited. And, so there's lots of good stuff. There's a good flow of material coming out. And, I think 2019 is going to have pretty much, kind of world tour. Unfortunately, we're not going to be in the U.S. a lot.
Yeah.
But, like Australia, Japan, South America. So it's going to be really fun. It's going to be really cool. And hopefully that, we can really delve into that culture, and maybe you'll hear it. Maybe you'll hear that culture on the upcoming album.
Yeah, no, that'd be awesome. I guess a lot of the time you guys kind of disregard a lot of the mainstream music, which is usually the music that gets recognition at the Grammys. So what's your attitude towards like being nominated? Is that really that much of a feat in your mind, or do you think there's another like level that or bar that you meet that would show like that you like quote unquote like made it other than a Grammy nomination?
I think that what we really want to do always is make music that we want to listen to, and really push ourselves to make great music. And as long as we're doing that, I'm happy. And I think that's the ultimate goal, is to really keep exploring new musical territories and really delving into new things, and never, put the anchor down. I think that always exploring the music is the most important thing to us. And, as long as we're doing that, we're so happy. And everything along the way that we get to do is a bonus. Like, the Grammys, like that, that's a very cool thing. It's a very high honor. Music awards are something that I have mixed opinions about. But, I think that it's one of those full circle happenings where I kind of remember like the years going back watching the Grammys. Mm-hmm. And it's just one of those things, you kind of find yourself in a position where you think, yeah, this is the full circle. This is kind of going back to when I was a kid, like a little kid watching the Grammys at like 2010 or whatever, and then coming back to now, it's like, wow.
Yeah, that I mean that awesome. That's awesome. It sounds like I mean obviously super exciting for you guys. Um, but with the constant referencing of being a little kid, you guys are still like very young, and I mean you're just like 19, right? So how do you
Yeah,
think?
very true. We are. Yeah, I definitely consider myself a kid. But anyway, what were you saying?
Oh, sorry. No, I was just gonna say like with this like almost very steep incline towards like fame just this past like probably half year. I think it's just been like skyrocketing. But do you think like I mean are you at all like disappointed at all that like this is happening so young that I don't know, are you like missing out on the beginnings of adulthood, or is it, I mean obviously this is what you want, but I don't know, what are your opinions on being how do you feel about this being thrust upon you at such an early age?
That is one of the most relevant questions that I have ever been asked. And I think that to a very powerful degree, I really do feel like, there's missing out on a lot. But you're totally right. This is what we signed up for. And this is this is a very fortunate case for us. And I think anybody would really love to experience this. And but you're completely correct. I think that there's a lot of, being a kid that we didn't really get to do.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that it's a very important part of life, is, exercising that being a kid. But once again, I think that the most fantastic people in the world are the people who, grow old and never lose that childlike, excitement. Like, I remember meeting Dave Grohl. He came on the bus. He was just so excited. He's like a little kid, and and it just really brought a lot of energy into my soul, because we've been doing this for a while. It kind of really seems like everybody kind of just hates the music grind, and it really felt like we were the only ones having fun.
Mm-hmm.
And but yeah, like seeing those guys having that much fun was so invigorating. It was so refreshing to see people loving what they do, and I think that being a child is such an important thing to carry with you, to carry that excitement through life.
Okay, cool. So like with the theme of childhood, were there any prominent book series or books that you read growing up that are favorite books that have influenced your songwriting or the theme of your music? I know one of the songs is off the new album is called Brave New World. Is that a reference to the book, or is that just what you decided to call it?
Yeah, that actually is a bit of a reference to the Huxley novel. And yeah, I think there was a lot of that growing up. The kind of stuff that our dad would read to us before, we were like, while we were going to bed, was not the usual kind of stuff. He would read us like The Hobbit, or he would read us some philosophy and explain it to us, because he's just a total nerd. And yeah, I think that's really where we kind of got our flair for reading and literature. And I think one of those things was Walden.
Yeah.
I think that was really kind of a big deal for us, because we lived in the country, we lived in nature, and we took all these things for granted, growing up. And seeing somebody talk about it in a way that is so highfalutin, and it just fails to really take nature for granted, which I think is such an important thing. So that was kind of an eye opener, especially once we started getting into like the big world, always being in cities and not being able to go out and live in the trees. And so I think that was one of those big ones for us, Walden.
Cool. Yeah, I can definitely sense some of that transcendentalism. You mentioned philosophy. Is there one philosopher or school of philosophy that you particularly subscribe to? I don't know.
You know what? I think that there are many ways of thinking, and I wouldn't say that I'm a hardcore anything. I think I really take. I think we all do. We all take these certain opinions as they come,
Mm-hmm.
and but as far as that goes, I remember in high school getting really deep into Nietzsche,
Uh-huh.
and and that's and once you know too much, things start getting weird. So we kind of put that stuff behind us. But it's good to be aware of these things rather than live your life blindly. But yeah, I think that along the way we really kind of are inventing our own philosophies. Because it's such a different lifestyle. Doing what we do, and it's pretty much just take these opportunities and live life to the fullest.
Yeah, that's cool. Yeah, Nietzsche, he's definitely left a mark on a lot of notable rock and roll artists. I know Jim Morrison was an intense subscriber to Nietzsche, but so that's a cool point. Do you have any final thoughts regarding some of the questions I've asked, or anything you need to put out there?
I think we've covered all the ground. I think you've done a really good job of covering all the bases.
All right. This has been wonderful. Again, I really appreciate you taking the time to talk to me. I'm sorry that I went through a really random, stuttering phase in the middle of this, but yeah, thank you so much.
Hey, that's okay. That's okay. Yeah, thank you for having me.
Yeah, no, I'm excited to see the show tonight. Thank you.
All right, awesome. I'll see you tonight then.
Yep. Thanks.
All right, cheers.